Hello there, guys. Aston Villa 2, Brighton 2. Villa draw their final game of the 2024 year. And it is a very deflating and overall kind of frustrating night for Aston Villa. Obviously, we're now 5 points off of 5th place. We don't particularly look in the best of form. And it's all just a little bit disheartening at the moment. And for a game today that for me personally, was coming to, it wasn't the most confidence anyway. But you got to sit there and think, we get a win today. Obviously, Newcastle playing Manchester United and they get the win anyway. But they're on form. Chelsea just so happened to lose against Ipswich as well. And there's also a few results that have gone around on us. So being fair, if we'd gotten a win today, we'd still be in that mix, to be fair. We're like top 6. We'd leap over Man City by a point. And, we're back in it. It's just the same old, isn't it? It's just the same old traits that we're seeing from Aston Villa at the moment. It's not really anything that's changing in the sense of our style of play is not changing. The way we're adapting to these teams isn't changing. How we're, outputting ourselves against these teams isn't changing. And it's all just becoming very disheartening. It's all becoming very disappointing to watch. And it's, compared to what we were seeing last season, it's hard to not feel frustrated because, we've seen the quality that these players can go at. And let's bear this in mind here, guys. It's the same players that were there last season. For all these new signings we've brought in, most of them are on the bench anyway. The only player that really ever starts a new game is Onana. And even then, he's a bit more rotational within the team. But the whole point is, these are mostly still the same set of players that we had last season. The same manager, the same coaches. And it's all almost like a complete 180 from what we saw last year. It just doesn't make sense sometimes. But if we're going to be fair, if we're going to talk about the negatives, let's talk about the positives. The fact that even though Duran did get sent off, unfortunately, Watkins did step up and score a penalty. So at least there's a goal there from him, and someone that is going to have to lead that line. If Villa want to, if Villa still want to stick with Duran at least, then Watkins has got to stake a claim. And tonight he's at least done that. He's got a goal for himself in the penalty. Morgan Rogers as well tonight. I thought he had a good, decent game. To be fair, really did put himself about. Obviously, it's a bit scrappy at times from him the way he plays, but ultimately he got a goal. I thought Leon Bailey actually had an all right game tonight. But the issue is again, you're sitting there and thinking this is the same Leon Bailey that last season was probably our best player, and now he's come back to become arguably our worst player, and it's just like it doesn't really correlate there. I just think the issue is defensively. We just look at shambles, right? The fact that we've had to lose Torres in the first half, so Mings is having to come on. Carlos looks like he's potentially taken a knock. Carlos, for me, I don't understand. I just don't understand why he's still here. I don't really understand why we hadn't sold him in the summer. On the reliance that we're going to stick with him because, there's confidence in him. What is the confidence that we're seeing with Diego Carlos? This is meant to be one of our more aggressive centre-halves, and he's probably the weakest centre-half you're ever going to find. He bowls out of challenges. He's having to rely on VAR and just general fouls against him to win against defensive and attacking threats. Rather than using any sense of physical or muscular strength against his players, he's doing the complete opposite, and he's just an absolute shambles, and he's just defensively inept for what we need at the club. Mings as well, I think in fairness, him coming on and somebody that should play a lot more games than he does, because Mings, for the first goal that we can see tonight, where he's coming over the top against Pau Torres, who just can't deal with those. He's more of a ground-to-ground player. That's where Mings shines. But then it's like, well, okay, we've got Conza out right back who had a shocking game tonight. I don't know what the hell he was playing at for most of it. You're tracking back against a Brighton counter-attack, and you're spending most of your time looking across the other side of the pitch while the players are literally coming at you from that end. You've then only just clocked him in your side. You're like, oh shit, I've just got to tackle the player now. This is the tackle, and if that doesn't go in, or if that goes in, sorry, then you're sitting there, you're meant to be one of our better defensive players. You're our best defensive player, and yet you're the one that's just cost us that goal. And you just sit there, you just think, what really is going on? Like, I know defensively and clean sheet wise, we haven't been the best for around the last 2 years, but you got to sit there and think, is it really that bad just because we don't have, because we just don't have the quality on the players, or is it just the coaching? You got to sit there and think, what is it really that is costing Villa these points? What is it that's costing us games, and what's costing us these performances? I don't think it's a mix of both. I honestly think it's a mix of both. I think, tactically, we're coming up poor. There's no sense of octane, high fluid energy from us. And yet, you know, Brighton have got so much going forward there, giving it their all. But yet we seem to spunk our load in the first 45 minutes, and that's it, it's all gone. And then you've got to think the quality of plays isn't good enough as well. We don't have a quality enough right back, hence why Conte Hayes having to play on that position out wide. So then we're stuck with a defence that always keeps chips and changing because we can't decide what centre halves work. We've only got one left back that seems to be quality enough to play because he doesn't seem to via Madison. Yet we're sending players on loan to another club even though they're not playing. But it's like, it's a mess everywhere for me personally, and it's just so disheartening tonight. Again, it's not the end of the world, is it? It's not the end of the world, but it's just expectation. We've seen it. We know what this team can do. We want the best for them. It's not happening right now, and it's so puzzling to understand why. And I'm genuinely, if we don't win again, if we don't get 3 points against Leicester, and we don't at least progress against West Ham in the FA Cup next week, I would really start to ask some serious questions. And bear in mind, this will be by the time Leicester City game goes ahead, the January transfer window is open. I want Villa to see some business. All I want a right back desperately bad. If we do have injuries in that centre half line, you're gonna have to get someone on loan. And just someone out wide for us, or even just a striker, because we just need something a bit more different going up there, because players are starting to work them out, and the only real players that are on form right now for us are John Duran and Morgan Rogers. Apart from that, we're not showing enough quality in that final third to go and kill a game. You know, we can score a goal, and that's perfectly fine, but when the chances that, like, the amount of chances we have, and we've got so many selfish pricks in the game that are just not doing the basic things of cutting it back because they want to get the goal in adulation, it's ridiculous. So I'm hoping for January we're going to see something different, because quite frankly it needs to be different. You know, we've still got a Champions League games to coming up, and we've still got FA Cup. Fans want to see us progress in that. And we've still got a Premier League where we want to at least finish top 7 and still keep those European dreams alive for us. So it's going to be an interesting new year. It's going to be interesting to see what's going to happen this next month. I just beg to God Villa get it right, because, you know, again, it's not the end of the world tonight. It's not the worst result, but it's 2 points dropped, isn't it? And it's just not what Villa could have done with tonight. But that is my reaction, Aston Villa to Brighton. Tell us in the comments down below what you thought. I hope you have a happy new year, guys, and let's hope Villa will give us that back. Up the Villa, the pride of Villa. We'll catch you next time, boys.